morning, Montclair. It is Tuesday, July 13th, and I hope you guys are all having a fantastic and quiet and peaceful morning so far. My name is Sabrina Hajsok, and you are listening to the Summer Morning Buzz on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. I am joined here today with my co-host, who has been missing for the past few weeks,
Daji.
a newscaster.
Isa,
Well, hey guys, how you doing this morning? And welcome back, Daji. How was your trip?
It was okay. It was fun just seeing family members I hadn't seen in a while. But yeah, I missed you all. How are
Oh,
you guys?
I'm good. I'm good. It's such a foggy morning outside. It's making me feel a little groggy, but I am happy to be here. What about you, Isa?
oh yeah, I'm doing very well. I just came back from a trip too. I was in Maryland, so I'm really happy there. The weather was sporadic as well, a lot of showers, thunderstorms, but I somehow like the summer stormy weather. There's something about it. I think it's a little magical.
I know there's something like quite beautiful about it, guys. But all right, we have a very exciting show for our audience planned today. Later on this episode, we even have a guest interview with MSU career advisor Jeff Poulos on TikTok becoming the new LinkedIn. So we'll get more into that later. But let's get this show on the road. Issa, take it away with our newscast.
You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. I am Isa Wanek with your news this morning. For New Jersey and local news, as reported by News 12, the mayor of Avalon has ordered the closure of the Jersey Shore boardwalk and beaches overnight due to the large crowds displaying what he called, quote, unsafe and destructive behavior, end quote. Police say that they have had reports of windows being smashed, damaged property, and fires. While this isn't considered a new problem in the area, police say they are having a hard time handling the issues with the influx of people renting houses this year, as well as the new rules on policing. The beach closures will remain in effect until further notice. For U.S. news, AP News states that dozens of wildfires burned across the West on Monday. However, fire agencies reported a gradual decrease in extreme temperatures that were responsible. The fires erupted as the area was torched with dangerously high temperatures in just a few weeks, and the entire region was suffering from an intense drought. The National Weather Service said that the heat wave appeared to have peaked in many areas, and the excessive heat warnings are largely expected to end by today, hopefully. For international news, according to the BBC, thousands of Cubans have risked jail by joining one of the decade's largest protests against the island's communist government. Civilians have been angered by the collapse of an economy, food and medicine shortages, as well as the government's negative handling of the pandemic. In response to the rare unrest, President Miguel Diaz-Canel addressed the nation in a TV broadcast and blamed the U.S. for the turmoil. He called its tight sanctions on Cuba, which have been in place in various forms since 1962, a, quote, policy of economic suffocation, end quote. More on that this coming week from the BBC. And for media news, The Hollywood Reporter announced that Netflix's success in attracting large audiences to the beloved fantasy series, Avatar: The Last Airbender, convinced the new Nickelodeon studio team to reunite with its original creators and expand the franchise. Nickelodeon's new take on the story of Avatar: The Last Airbender will bring back its original creators to work on making a new series and multiple films with their brand new Avatar studios. With this new studio venture, the creators are excited to get back into gear and begin developing projects as early as this coming fall. And as for weather in Montclair, it's going to be quite cloudy today with a high of 79 and a low of 71 with a 20% chance of rain. Humidity will be around 82% with winds at about 6 miles per hour, and hopefully a lovely sunset tonight at 8:35 p.m. This concludes our news update for July 13th, 2021. From WMSC, I am Isa Wanek, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
As always, thank you, Issa. That was a fantastic newscast. I'm kind of excited about this new Avatar news. I mean, for those of you who don't know, our last WMSC banquet that just happened in May was actually Avatar themed. So I think that this is kind of cool that we have a new series going on. But we're going to jump right into our first story for the day. So, for some coronavirus related news, the FDA just updated the Johnson & Johnson vaccine label, warning individuals of the possible increased risk of an uncommon neurological complication known as Guillain-Barré syndrome. For those who don't know, Guillain-Barré syndrome is a neurological disorder in which the body's immune system damages nerve cells, causing muscle weakness and sometimes paralysis. There is no proof that the vaccine can cause a syndrome, yet the FDA noted an increase in reports of the sometimes paralyzing condition. The label states, start quote, although the available evidence suggests an association between the Janssen vaccine and increased risk of GBS, it is insufficient to establish a causal relationship. No similar signals have been identified with the Moderna and Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccines, end quote. According to the FDA, 100 reports of GBS have been filed of the 12.8 million Janssen vaccines given. CNN advises that people should seek medical attention if they notice tingling or weakness in their arms or legs, especially if it spreads after receiving the vaccine. Yeah, so guys, Johnson & Johnson. I feel like this vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in particular, has had a lot of bad luck. Because between this and we all know about the blood clots that happened months ago, it seems like Johnson & Johnson, I don't know what's going on, but it's just constantly there's new news about this vaccine.
When it just comes to this news and like as I'm looking at it and thinking about it, my gut just tells me to like not take this vaccine if I would have a choice, because since the other two haven't been having as many complications as this new one just coming in is just like, I see they're trying hard and they're really doing like their best to like say it's safe and everything, but people are not going to be up for it. At least for my view, it just with these like constant complications coming out, a lot of people don't want to be at risk of that. So why would they go take this vaccine if they hear, oh, there's already many reports and Pfizer and Moderna haven't been having this?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to knock on wood because you said, no complications with Moderna and Pfizer. Because I'm sure there probably are some minor complications, but we don't know, and things could pop up. Yeah, but the real question is like, do you think the risk is worth the reward? Because we're at least I'm blessed in the sense that I had the option to choose between which vaccine I wanted, and I chose Pfizer. But not all people have that opportunity because maybe some people, there are places probably in this country or in this world where they had either Johnson & Johnson or no vaccine at all. And when it comes down to it, do you guys think the risk is worth the reward?
Hmm. Honestly, I feel like you can go either or. It's such a it more than a sensitive topic. It's like it's either you have a 50% chance now of like being safer than normal. Especially with all of the underlying effects of Johnson and Johnson. I honestly wouldn't know what I would choose if I were the one in the position. So I could only imagine how the people that, were forced to, essentially how they're feeling. And it might be like really brain racking right now.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a difficult decision, but for me personally, if it was between, Johnson & Johnson and no vaccine at all, I personally would choose the vaccine over no vaccine just cuz, with the Delta variant going around right now being stronger than ever and, the COVID is still around. So I personally would not want to risk it even though Johnson & Johnson isn't perfect. It's only 100 out of 12.8 million Johnson vaccines given that these symptoms are showing. And I just want to remind our audience that these are our opinions and they do not reflect the stations.
How about you, Issa? What do you think about this?
It's just while I'm happy that Johnson and Johnson was working on this vaccine and they have been doing their best to make improvements to actually give in and help people with fighting COVID and with creating a new vaccine, this approach, at least in my opinion, might be a little rushed. Because just judging by how they say, okay, they're still bringing forth this vaccine, but they do have a warning. Uh, and like I said, once again, this is my opinion. I believe that it might be better if they worked on this vaccine a little more, figured out what was wrong, made it as close to ideal as they could, and then put it out for the public. That's when people would be more attracted to it. Because if they just work a little more on this one aspect instead of just rushing it to give it to the public, um, it might save a lot of future complications, because after all, these vaccines are fairly new, so we don't know what they're going to do in the long run. So I personally believe that if they were worked on a little more, and if this complication was somehow resolved or minimized, then it would make a lot of people less skeptical or fearsome of the vaccine.
No, that's a solid point for sure. And I think part of the issue is too, because like these vaccines were also not rushed, but like there was a high demand for them in the beginning. So it definitely it makes sense like why Johnson and Johnson was like, okay, I gotta get this out. And it's possible that they could have missed a few things or not realized of some of these symptoms because there was just not enough testing done beforehand. But yeah, no, I agree, Issa, that maybe it would be for the best if they just went back and they looked at these issues that they were having and tried to figure out why this was happening and if there was a solution within the vaccine that they could fix.
So, do you guys think that in in reality everything was rushed, or do you think that it happened at a reasonable time?
Honestly, considering the fact that COVID has been around for years and this is just COVID-19 that happened, I think that they've been studying this for years. They have been practicing this medicine for years. I know obviously there was a high demand for it when COVID-19 happened, no doubt about it, but it still took them some time to get that vaccine out. And I don't know, I personally really trust our doctors, and I don't think they would give something out to the public if they didn't know for sure that it was like 99% safe.
Mhm.
I would have to also say that I believe that there was much research done on many of these diseases and illnesses, especially COVID, before this big pandemic broke out with COVID-19. And I believe that scientists have been doing research for a long time, but it wasn't maybe as intense because there wasn't a huge priority of many lives being lost or many people getting sick. And now with COVID, when COVID-19 hit, this research became much more, I would say, yeah, there was much more tension and pressure pressed on this research to find a vaccine, to find a cure, to find something to help these people, and to save the world in a sense. So I believe that because I believe it was both rushed and both not rushed. Not rushed in the sense that there has been information and research done on this before previously, yes, but to find a way to cure it and minimize its damaging effects in a way um, that influences and helps the entire world, that's where I feel it might be just more pressurized and rushed, not necessarily in a negative sense, but more in a sense that they are doing their best to keep up with the efforts and keep up with their work, working nonstop on making this research.
Yeah, honestly, I personally like applaud like all the people who've worked on these vaccines because I can only imagine just how stressful like the whole world right in March of last year. I don't know if you guys were like this, but I was kind of like, wow, like I wonder when the vaccine's gonna come out. Like, is it gonna be a few months? Is it gonna be a few years? Like, I really hope it comes out soon. And I can only imagine being those people who are in charge of this research, and just how stressed out they must have been and just trying to find all their previous research and working on new things and just I don't know. I really do like I I applaud them because they did such a fantastic job. I feel, you know, overall, when you look at the big picture, they have saved so many lives with this vaccine within the past few months, and I think that's a miracle. And without those people, it could have taken years for these vaccines to come out too. But all right, I want to end this conversation with a quote by Dr. Fauci about this Johnson and Johnson vaccine. So Dr. Fauci says, start quote, when you vaccinate tens of millions of people, you will always find a rare event. You've got to make a decision. Does the benefit outweigh the unusual risk of an adverse event? Thus far, with the vaccines, it's always been decided that the benefit of the vaccine outweighs the risk of an adverse event. End quote. And yeah, that's the quote I stand by because that's what I personally believe, in my opinion. But all right, moving on to some more important news. Daji, take it away.
So, in April of 2021, New Jersey Middle School Vice Principal Michael Smurrow was put on leave without pay due to an accusation of him discriminating a transgender woman in a grotesque manner with his wife at an outdoor restaurant. Smurrow was apparently recording his wife slurring at the transgender woman in the restroom and threw a cup filled with beer to the people who were defending the transgender woman in the restroom. It was said by the Associated Press that the civil suit against Smurrow is inconclusive because those who filed it didn't suffer any harm. Details from NewJersey.com state that Smurl is suing those who are suing his wife and himself for defamation, as he claims he never said anything about transgender issues. Another important detail from NewJersey.com is that Smurl claims his reputation has been ruined, as the Neptune School administration received 80 voicemail messages demanding disciplinary actions against him. Now, I personally think this is insane, the fact that he is suing for defamation. Like, he was still part of going against a transgender woman and discriminating against her. So I find that really messed up. I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, I completely agree. And for me, actions speak so much louder than words. Like here he was throwing beer at the people who were defending her. And he's like, oh, he feels like his reputation is ruined. Like, yes, it's ruined. Obviously, it's ruined. What kind of human being thinks that's okay and that they can get away with that kind of stuff? And now that he's trying to sue the people who are suing him, I'm sorry, but like, who do you think you are? Like, you don't rule the world. You are not like in charge of all of us. I don't know why you think this is okay because it's not okay.
I don't understand why people think it's right to discriminate in the first place, no matter who it is, whether it's race, whether it's gender, whether it's personal option, even what someone wears. I feel it's rude. Like if someone has a contrasting opinion, you could keep it to yourself. You don't have to be rude to a person and make them feel uncomfortable in a public setting. Like it's a free country for us. Like we could in a way do what we like. And yeah, I completely agree with you. This is completely rude, and I feel that right now this man trying to sue the people who are suing him, that is just complete. I feel it's this heightened unhealthy pride trying to just keep his ego like on a platform, just to say like, oh, but I'm still like this. I really dislike when people try to place themselves above of others, especially when they do rude things or try to belittle other people. It's just completely rude, and it just proves how of a little person they are.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy to think that even, like the article said, the civil suit is groundless as the people filing it were not harmed. It may be frowned upon, but it does not have the right. But he does have the right to express his opinions in a public place, no matter how controversial it is. And that's the scariest. I mean, it's like, yes, like you want like freedom of speech and you want to be able to express your opinion, but like still to morally think that this is okay, that's what shocks me. Like why does he think this is okay?
I'm just processing, like, so while I read that too, I was still perplexed because I'm like, okay, so you're telling me that he's able to sue these people, but the people are probably going to lose their battle in court. And it's just sad because you're telling me, okay, if I go back to that moment, I can throw beer at him or anything else at him. Like if it doesn't show physical harm, apparently that's okay.
Yeah.
I find that so sad. Like, you're telling me the guy gets away with it, and on top of that, he's complaining about how people are viewing this. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
it's insane. And to think that this is a middle school principal, and I feel like as a principal, you are in charge of setting the example for all these young students, and especially at that age while you're in middle school, you are so susceptible to, being influenced by people, and you're really like looking up to adults, or at least from my personal experience during that age, like you're trying to see who you're going to turn out to be, and just to have this principal set this quote unquote example for all these kids is quite disturbing in my opinion. And I can't believe he's like worried about his reputation being ruined, because in my head it's so crystal clear that obviously things are not going to be the same for you.
What I find funny is that apparently the administration received 80 voicemail messages, and it happened 3 days after the event occurred. So it's just the way that that spread around. I was actually satisfied with that part, but I found it funny that it was 80 people that were asking for something to be done against him, disciplinary actions and stuff. And it's still not, I don't know. I really do wonder what's going to happen with this, and I hope it's not, what we're all thinking may happen,
Mhm.
which is nothing essentially, and him getting away with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I hope that won't happen, because what I've come to know is when people do something like this and they kind of maintain this pride, like he just goes back and tries to sue them, like there's going to be more situations where this man, I feel, is going to face these situations, whether to discriminate or not, or seeing more people like this. And he's more likely inclined to do it again. And when he does do it again, people will catch him again and again. Because that's the type of character often these proud people maintain. These people who think that, oh, they have a right to just be rude to whoever they want because they're so high and mighty. So I feel that it's most likely going to follow him and follow his reputation. And if not that, then there's going to be a group of people now against him. And I feel that the parents of the students and the students themselves, who now, well, we all have access to the internet, social media, news, could become aware of this. And finding out that your own principal did something like this, there's going to be some sort of heightened action against that, or at least awareness. Like, if I were going to the school in this middle school, I would be looking at this man completely different, and I wouldn't have the same respect as I would if I didn't know this.
Yeah, I
Would you, oh, sorry, Sabrina, continue.
you could ask your question.
I was gonna say, would you guys be okay with this if you guys had children, or if your little sister or cousin went to that school and the vice principal just would do that in his spare time, right? Go to the school, act like nothing happened, and would you be okay with that type of person being around whoever you care about?
Most definitely not. If you're asking, like, would you remove your child from the school district, though, that's a hard question just because I assume in this type of situation, or at least I hope, in my opinion, that, he gets fired or removed from this position, straight off the bat. But it's hard to say whether or not I would want my kid to be removed just because even though there might be a terrible vice principal, there might be some fantastic teachers there. And it's like I would hate to like remove my child. And also when you change schools too, like I don't know if I want my kid to go through that. It's just like such a hard decision. But like at the same token, like I wouldn't want my kid to be around someone who thinks that's okay to do. So it's a hard question.
You know what I would do in that case, because this man, I'm surprised he acted the way he did. If let's say I was a parent, or if I was like an older, a guardian of a younger child that went to the school, or like a middle schooler, a younger sister, cousin, I would personally go to that man, have a private meeting with him when he has a chance, and say that I heard what you did. I'm uncomfortable with my child or whoever I'm taking care of going to the school. What should I do? I don't feel comfortable with someone who's discriminatory and who's most likely going to do something rude like this in the future. Tell me, what should I do? I can't just remove my child. I'm going to bring the problem back to him and tell him from my perspective, how would you feel if this would happen to you, basically.
Yeah, no.
Wow, Isa, I really want to be you when I grow up. Oh my God.
And
In everything she says, she's so brave.
I
Oh,
know.
thank you.
He is. And it's like also imagine those students who go to that school who are part of the LGBTQ community. Imagine how they feel. Imagine the teachers who are like, wow, this man who I essentially work for thinks this is okay to do. And I know we talked about how the administration received like 80 voicemail messages demanding, disciplinary actions against him, but I feel like there's so much more probably. Imagine all the emails, imagine all the petitions going out. Like I definitely feel like they mentioned the 80 voicemail messages, but there has to be more because I feel like so many people in our day and age are so passionate about this kind of stuff and they don't want this type of situation to fly.
And go ahead, Daji.
I was gonna say what's interesting is you can have your child or anybody like close to you, young and stuff, um in a school, and you don't know what is happening in the teachers' lives. So it's pretty interesting. Like I know of a case in January when said situation happened in Washington DC. One of a teacher, I believe she was from New Jersey, I may be wrong, but she was in that riot and in that situation. And when the school found out, a lot of parents didn't feel comfortable with their children being in the same school as her, like taking her class and stuff. And it's interesting because this we do know, but there are a lot of cases we don't know. So it's a little scary to think about.
You
Yeah.
know, and what I also wanted to add for this, because many people say it's unfair how he's not getting the type of punishment that many people would see right fit for this situation. I feel punishment or no punishment doesn't really matter. I feel it's the reputation that will affect him for a lifetime because policies, laws always change, and sometimes they're ethical, sometimes they're unethical, but oftentimes the public doesn't really have much of an influence as much as we want. So even if he does get actually punished as we like or not, I feel this reputation will haunt him and will follow him, and it's the people who will give him the real punishment. Because if someone like this does something, they're going to remind him that he will not get away with this. Like people, like you guys said, sent out petitions, emails, protests. Maybe people are gonna like these voicemails too, and people at the school just having that reputation on you. I feel that's the biggest shame and punishment that one can have. That's even, I feel it surpasses any fine that one could pay and like privately deal with the situation. This is like a public issue, so I feel that the real punishment will be the way that people treat him after this.
Yeah, for sure, guys. And I think this is a good time to go into our break. When we get back, we will kick off the second half of the show with an exclusive interview with MSU career advisor Jeff Poulos on TikTok becoming the new LinkedIn. We'll be right back on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
Hello, we are back.
All right, guys, we are back on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. So, TikTok is launching this new pilot program, TikTok Resume, on Wednesday, hoping to connect Gen Z to some job openings. So, there's a lot of talk about this, whether or not TikTok is going to become the new LinkedIn, and I think this is a super fascinating story, especially now applications are only being accepted until July 31st, which is also kind of interesting too. And I'm a little like, I have so many feelings about this. And we actually brought in a special guest today, Jeff Palos, who is a career advisor at MSU, to talk a little bit more about this whole story and what's going on. How are you doing today, Jeff?
Doing well. Good morning, everyone. I think this is, first off, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on the radio, and it's awesome hearing from you all. I would love to get your thoughts on this too, aside from me just, chatting about it. But yeah, I think it's a game changer for sure. So this is interesting. But
Yeah, no, for sure. So Jeff, tell me, like, what do you think of TikTok wanting to become the new, quote unquote, new LinkedIn?
I think, well, real quick, I kind of want to pose this to everyone or to you, Sabrina. Can you explain in your own words, what is a TikTok? Because I do know there's some people on the radio wavelengths, if you will, that are currently listening who have no idea what TikTok is, and just know it that it's like that crazy app that the kids make videos, these days.
No, that's a great point, Jeff. TikTok for me is a video platform where you make like short, less than 60-second long videos. Typically, they're used for more like comedic relief, and anyone can make a TikTok, anyone can post it, and it could go viral real quick. Tons of Generation Z are using TikTok right now. Personally, I use TikTok. It's a lot of fun. It's like free and easy entertainment for myself.
Right.
But yeah, that's what it is to me. I don't know. Daji, Issa, do you guys have anything to add about TikTok?
I'm not a huge TikTok fan. I don't even have TikTok, but
Oh, okay.
Wow, that is an outlier right there.
so I just know exactly what you just said. I consider it like another version of Vine, which
Hmm.
unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. But if anything that is happening, you can cultivate something new with TikTok. You can make a statement, you can show somebody how to cook. It's like so many different things.
It's very true.
Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I want to just add that unfortunately myself as well, I don't have TikTok. I'm aware of what it is and that it's a content creating platform in which anyone from around the world could make videos, these short video clips put together of them dancing, singing, performing, doing something funny, something entertaining, educational, or like many people say, making a statement, and it could go viral very easily and be shared all across the platform. So I'm aware that it's a social media where much content could be shared, but myself, like I just I was never familiar with how to exactly use it, but I know that it's very popular and it's gaining more and more popularity.
You guys are letting me down a little bit over here. I'm the only child, I guess, who's using TikTok. But anyway, Jeff, going back to our question. So, what do you think of TikTok wanting to become the new LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think there needs to be a discussion after the show, everyone, to demonstrate what TikTok is about. I'm a little surprised myself. No, I think it's interesting, right? And just keep in mind, and you mentioned this, Sabrina, it's a pilot program, so they're really have the lens hyper focused here to see if this is going to work, what is going to work. I think it's interesting in the sense of employers and TikTok specifically is going to where the traffic is, right? Think of it that way. We all just kind of said, minus you both that are not on TikTok, but majority of your generation will say Gen Z, which by the way, is anyone born between 97 and 2012 is on TikTok. So why not go to where everyone is? And the article I shared with you all cites that only 19% of Gen Z is on, or 19% of LinkedIn users, let's say it that way, are Gen Z.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little bit of a shot and jab at LinkedIn to step up their game. That if they're going to try and break into the Gen Z market, how are they going to do that, right? So I think it's really interesting to see where this goes. Where the career services landscape and world and coaches are following this closely. There are some big companies on there, Target, Shopify, I think WWE's on there, Chipotle is recruiting on there. So I think, it's kind of like a David and Goliath little moment here, and we'll see how it, plays out. But LinkedIn's been around a lot longer too, so that doesn't really help TikTok's case, but I'm interested to see the level of engagement and kind of success that comes from this.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's interesting too, because like I'm on TikTok, but I'm also on LinkedIn. And I know a lot of students on the station who are also on LinkedIn. So it's really interesting to see who's on it and who's not.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah, go
I
for it.
was gonna ask, are there any benefits of receiving a resume via TikTok? Do you see any or
Yeah, so it's interesting because, right, it takes out the whole idea of what we all think of as a resume, on paper or sending it somewhere on paper digitally. And now TikTok is pushing the idea that you're going to be sending a digital video of your resume speaking about yourself. So I think it's interesting. It's hard to judge someone off a video. A lot of these you have one take. You can't really edit the video. I mean, you can do it maybe a few times. Some of them I think have parameters set up that it's a one shot, one deal. And not everyone is comfortable with speaking in a video or in that kind of platform and setting too. So I think what it comes down to, and I'll get into this in a little bit with some other points I want to bring up, is ultimately being comfortable talking about yourself. No matter if it's a video or even interview, right? Even if it's in person, which those are more likely to be hopefully happening in the future versus Zoom, appointments or Zoom interviews, I should say. You have to be comfortable talking about yourself and kind of answering that question and really being confident to talk about yourself too. So are there benefits? There could be. I think it's easier. It makes it mainstream, right? You're just seeing the person right there. But on the flip side, we all judge people too, right? So maybe that little kind of switch in our brain goes off and we're seeing someone doing a video and we don't maybe take them as serious either. So
Yeah,
it's a good question.
I think it's very interesting too, because I think when I think of the benefits of this, I definitely go back to, like just like when you apply to colleges, how everything is just, numbers and facts and everything's on paper and they don't really get to know you. For me, I feel like a benefit of this is they will actually kind of get to like know who you really are. And just, I feel like social skills, correct me if I'm wrong, but like that's something that when people interview applicants, that's something they look into, and just if you're able to communicate with people. And when I read about this, I was like, like this is definitely something that is beneficial with TikTok, even though you don't get the full story, you don't get all the numbers and facts, but you are able to see how they would react in a social situation, sort of like communicate with others.
Yeah, that's a great point. And keep in mind too, this isn't groundbreaking kind of news, right? In a way, this has been happening in your landscape for anyone that wants to go onto media or radio. I think Sirius XM, their internship kind of application requires you to do a video interview, right? So similar kind of concepts what you're describing, Sabrina, that it's an opportunity to maybe make your resume alive, right? To kind of sell yourself and your personality, which is really hard to do on something that you're just looking at on a piece of paper. So, these trends are happening, whether it's, TikTok's driving the vehicle in the driver's seat right now for this conversation, but, certain media opportunities, NBC, they require those video, kind of interviews where you have to, they're not just judging, right, your question or the answer that you're, providing, but they want to see, your kind of personality and how alive you come, and why you are the best person for this position.
Mm-hmm. And, for you, like, how do you think this will affect students going, applying for jobs, and like with your job in career services, like how will this impact you in your future advising?
Yeah, this is, I think the article and what TikTok did is a reminder to us all in the career services landscape, and again, career coaching landscape too, that social media is such a driving force with, changing how kind of things are done, and how the job application process works, and really, they're in the driver's seats. We're here to facilitate, maybe for the metaphor, we're in the back seat or, strapped to the roof. I don't know, but it's really interesting. So I think the uphill challenge that we'll have in possibly career services is it's important to, and I was actually I want to shout out one of my colleagues, Annie, who brought this point up because I was talking to her offline about it, is I think it's important to make the connection that, and one of your questions, was talking about students who are tech savvy, right? And I've encountered them even last year. You Gen Z, you're gritty as heck, right? You survived a pandemic, you're crushing it. You know tech before it even exists, right? I'm sure you've all have relatives that you give the baby an iPad, they like know how to navigate it better than the parent. Way off topic here, but I think it's connecting though, being comfortable with connecting it to interpersonal skills, right? So although you're tech savvy, it still comes down to how can we practice those interpersonal skills and connect it to interviewing, right? And being comfortable talking about yourself in front of a camera, maybe, maybe we do a workshop talking about video interviewing strictly, and in that regard. So, it's great that we could showcase your tech savvy on a piece of paper, but it's getting your foot in the door. You still, when you boil it down and remove social media, you got to know how to communicate to people, and that no matter what industry you go into, you're going to be working on teams, you're going to be, chatting and emailing or, direct messaging with folks. So, that kind of foundation is still there in my opinion. So I think I would kind of attack it as like, how are we going to, practice your interpersonal skills and practice, doing a TikTok. I don't know. I have no idea, but that's kind of where, I'm kind of connecting the examples there.
So I believe that then that's the bigger role that TikTok is playing, right? Like it's teaching, I guess, not only Gen Z, but those that are applying via TikTok resume, how to develop their interpersonal roles or how to express themselves in a way that, a bigger community sees them and is like, okay, they're hired. But now, how are you planning to work with the new students coming into MSU who are very tech savvy, like you were saying?
Yeah, I would, I would, so, every year, pre and even during pandemic, we always have workshop series, right? We have anything from your basic, your how to do resume and all that fun stuff, which is very important, not just saying that it's basic, but I would maybe throw in there, how, a workshop, and we have done this before too, how social media is changing the landscape of how you look for jobs, right? I did do this workshop last year that Facebook itself has a job search feature too that scarily enough takes right from your profile that you use. Imagine right now if you were going to use your Facebook profile to apply for a job. Like, I don't know, maybe I'd want to like maybe, tweak some things on there, remove some things a little bit to make sure I'm putting my best foot forward, but it does exist on Facebook, it is there. So I think TikTok is great, and they're like, again, they're doing the pilot to see how this works. I would say for those that are using TikTok, that there are a lot of really good kind of vignettes and videos out there that discuss how to answer certain interview questions. There's a lot of career coaches that are out there that, give you a quick little tip of, how to do this or what you should be including. What are some good keywords to, mention in a cover letter or a resume? So I think it's good for driving that type of conversation and dialogue. But yeah, but I would tie it in totally into maybe a workshop and engage students that way, but connect it to the skills, right? When it comes down to, right, it's great that you're tech savvy and you have the tech skills, but how does that, connect to your interpersonal, skills and help students understand that these aren't just skills that you need to succeed right now in your collegiate career, but beyond MSU, post MSU, right? And I think that's really the important piece to highlight. And it's tough because you may not see it right now in the moment. And I was a student, long ago now, so I get it. At the time, you're like, I'm just grinding. I'm focusing on doing well. I want to get good grades. You're maybe not thinking about careers and stuff, but it's there. It's in the forefront. And I think really your generation is stronger, or will be the strongest ones emerging because of all the hoopla that happened last year. So just how we practice and sharpen those skills, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's crazy to see too, like how, our generation has evolved, not to mention how technology is evolving with us and how it will continue to evolve really. And TikTok is just one new thing, but new things are going to keep on popping up. So I'm sure, Jeff, you're going to have to be quick on your feet as this new stuff keeps on coming. And we're going to have to be quick on our feet trying to adapt to it as well. It's a full process. But on that note, thank you, Jeff, so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you on the show, and we really value your input. And really just thank you, Jeff. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you all. It's honestly, it's always a pleasure, and I love having the opportunity to hop on the radio and chat. So please, I'm around in the summer if you ever want me to pop back in again, you know where to find me. So thank you, everyone.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. We guys are going to move on to another story. So, big news, everyone. Crocs are trending again. According to NJ.com, the pandemic has caused the revival of Crocs. Nicolette Accardia, who is NJ.com's advanced media writer, talks about how Crocs were never on her radar until this year. Nonetheless, after getting her first pair, she was in love. She says that they're easy to buy, comfortable, stylish, and easy to clean. Nicolette wishes she would have hopped on the Crocs train earlier and recommends that people give them a shot. All right, guys, so first question, do you guys wear Crocs?
Yes.
Who wouldn't wear Crocs? Like even like childhood, throughout my childhood when we're older, like it's something very useful. I know some people often like look down upon them. I'm not sure why, but they're so convenient and they're often nice, cute. You could accessorize them. They're creative too.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, I think I had a pair of Crocs in like elementary school, maybe, and I have not gone back since. Not because I didn't like them, it's just kind of been like, oh, I'm very into like, I guess, I mean, style. Not to say they're not stylish, but like I love like shoes with like wedges and like boots with like the heel on the end. Like I like to be taller because I'm 5'3", so I'm kind of small. So naturally I like shoes that like make me look taller. But I don't know, I am not personally the biggest Crocs fan. Not to say I don't like them, I just don't gravitate towards them. So as you know, you two seem to be more of Croc fans. So I want to ask you guys, like, what is your favorite thing about them?
Honestly, I got my first Crocs like last year.
Oh,
No, it had to be 2019. I don't even know what year we are in anymore. But in when I got them, they were, what's it called? You know when it has fur inside?
yeah,
Those, yeah, those were different. So I didn't get the full on Croc waterproof experience. I got more of like gotta put socks with it or it won't smell nice. But what I liked for it from it was that it was easy to put on and it's like on the go, you just put them on and you go. I don't know.
I like that. Okay. What about you?
Um, I really like that they were like they were comfortable for me, and during the summer they were waterproof. They're good if like you're going out and you know you're gonna be dirty or you're gonna be doing yard work. They're like the perfect shoe that you know that they can get dirty and like you could just wash them very easily. Number one. Number two, they're very colorful and they give me like this good nostalgic memory of when I was younger and I would like play with my cousins. Like we'd always put on Crocs and either go to a stream or like go outside and like do something and like just like either get dirty or get wet, just like have a bunch of like fun, like either like playing with water guns or something. And I remember just like always putting on Crocs because they were always just convenient and easy to wear, and they were pretty comfortable. Even now, I remember I recently bought like these ballet slipperish Crocs that actually look quite nice. So yeah, I feel like they've somehow grown with me like as I grew up. So it gives me a nostalgic feeling of having them.
So it seems like you think that they're fashionable.
Well, recently the pair that I have, I believe they're quite fashionable, yes.
Okay, okay, that's good. That's good. I like it. I
Have
mean,
you guys gone swimming with Crocs?
no.
I've seen people do that. Apparently that's a thing. I'm like, what?
Would you
Because,
use them? Because don't they like slip off? Like they're kind of like slippers. Like they come off pretty easily, don't they?
well, I mean, the ones that I've worn, they like you can like buckle it, not buckle it, but like put it from the back. Yeah, there's a backing to them. So it's like you take it off when you want and you put it back on whenever you want. So it won't get off of your foot that easily. Um, and I know at the beach, the sand is not fun, especially when it's like 100 degrees. You feel the fire of the sand. It's very intense. So I've seen people run into the water with Crocs, and I'm like, that's different.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
still
know.
have that fear that like I'm gonna lose them in the ocean. Like that's kind of risky. I don't know about you guys, but like I don't take anything like valuable except occasionally like sunglasses if I'm not getting my hair wet like into the ocean because like you never know. But yeah, no, I personally am not the biggest Crocs fan. I don't know, I just don't love how I look in them. For some reason, it just doesn't, I feel like, bring out my full potential. I think they are convenient. They're kind of like slippers in a sense where you wear them just to like go around places. But for me, they're not my favorite shoe. I would probably prefer like a pair of sneakers over Crocs. But hey, that's just my opinion.
You don't want to be a Smurf for a day because in the end, that's what we would look like.
Oh, well, I mean, well, now that you say that, maybe I'll have to change my mind because obviously I want to be a Smurf. All right. Speaking of other exciting news, Daji, why don't you tell us a little bit about our next story?
So, the Hoboken Girl has some pretty exciting news about what's happening in North Jersey this summer and fall. Many of these events vary by location and activity. This week, from July 12th to the 18th in Newark, is the Lincoln Park Music Festival. In Clifton, on July 15th and August 19th, is the City Greens Twilight Farm Festival, which will take place with live music, drinks, farm animals to visit. There are a variety of festivals happening over the summer that can entice anyone to try something new. It's really, it looks like fun. There's a lot of events happening in Montclair, Hoboken, New Jersey is alive again. That's what it looks like.
I have a question. What is the Bubble Fest that is in Jersey City? Because
But
apparently on July 16th there is a Bubble Fest. So are these just like bubbles being blown everywhere? Is this what we think this is?
I believe it is. It's a giant bubble show.
That is so
And it is. And then there's a bunch of activities just happening in in the event, in the festival itself. Um, One of the ones that sounded different to me was the New Jersey Lottery Festival of Ballooning. Like the name is so long
yeah.
that it's just like, what is that?
What does
Uh,
that mean? Like a balloon? Like what?
so there are events happening from this week all the way until October 30th, and it's just too many events to even process. There's food truck festivals, film festivals, music festivals.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna repeat again food because food is nice.
it's
No,
so exciting, and there's honestly each one is like slightly different, but it's also creative, and I feel like there's this like wonderful, exciting energy behind it. Like I can't wait to like even see like some of these, just like to look at them and like the color, the light behind them, what kind of people will be there. It each one seems like to have a very similar, exciting energy, but be slightly different. And I'm honestly excited to go and see all of them.
this is so convenient because like I feel like so many, not like all the time, but there are many moments in your life where you're like, ah, like what is there to do around here? Especially when you live in like a suburban town like me, where literally the center of our town is the Acme. That's just how exciting we are here. And I'm always like, what can I do? Like, what is there going on today? And you could just pull out this list, and it's basically something every single weekend, to say the least, until October, which is super convenient. Like, just this weekend, there is the Bubble Fest in Jersey City, and then there's also the Montclair Summer Food Truck Festival, super convenient. There's St. Anne's Festival in Hoboken. That's July 22nd, so not this weekend, but the following weekend basically. So there's always stuff going on, and I just think this is super helpful when you're making plans and trying to find something different to do.
It is. I honestly, I feel like more I might learn more about things that I didn't know about. Like there's a art festival apparently. That sounds very interesting. Um and a Tavern Film Festival. Ooh. look at
Interesting.
that, Sabrina. Yeah, I know you're like, huh, film?
My type of festival. But yeah, no, some of these are very unique because there's like the Roseland Greek Festival, so Greek festivals are always fun. There's Maple Woodstock. I'm not, so I guess that's Maple, like in Maplewood, but like Maple Woodstock. That's so, I love that. That's so funny. Instead of Woodstock, Maple Woodstock, that's kind of funny. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and this brings me back to one of my points I made a few weeks ago that New Jersey is so like underestimated. Everyone's like, oh, like they joke about New Jersey, it's not that exciting, you know, our taxes are high, but there is still a lot to do here. And I feel like because there are so many people here, we like make the best out of it and we always try to have things going on. I know Daji, you might disagree with me because I'm pretty sure you were like, no, there's nothing fun to do here. There are fun things. If you just look around, you can check NJ.com. They have lists, and I know there's a few like mom websites too, where they just like list a bunch of fun things to do with your family in New Jersey. And I am thankful for these things. They keep
I feel like Jersey is more, which I appreciate a lot. I wish I would have grown up here. It's more of a family and friend situated state. Like everybody I have met that's from Jersey, they always have something to do with their friends in the weekend. They're like, "Oh, I'm going with my friend to this place or I'm going here to that place." It's like they're always on the move. So I do appreciate that. And I really love the list, especially you just see a lot of creativity happening behind it. So it's a lot of fun. I've never seen a full-blown film festival or like just different types of festivals all in one. It all of North Jersey is like you can make it to each one. So I don't know, it's interesting because I've never seen that before in my life. So
want to go to the cornhole festival. I love cornhole.
really, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's like the beanbag game where you toss it and there's like two like little plaques on each side and you try to get it in the hole. It's such a fun game.
I wonder what would be at that festival. Would it be a bunch of cornhole games, a bunch of cornhole equipment, just everything related to cornhole, cornhole t-shirts? I'm just like
Maybe
curious, how
like
much could you expand in one like
I don't
category?
know, I'll have to see, but I'll report back. You guys are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This has been the Tuesday edition of the Morning Buzz. I am Sabrina, joined with
Dodgy.
and
Issa.
and we hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and we hope to see you next week. Bye.